Hi, it's Sandra from Red Rover. Today we're going to talk about our Baby Proofing Your Dog series. And what baby proofing means is that we just want to get your dog acclimatized to the new baby arriving and also the new routine that is going to result because of that. So whether you think you're going to have a new routine or not, you will. And also, this video is not just for people that are expecting their first child. It's for anyone who already has children in the home, people like grandparents, aunts, uncles, neighbors, other friends and family that have children visiting them regularly. But even more importantly, it's also for people that don't have children visiting regularly, but sometimes they do. And especially important for these dogs to get used to certain things that are different when these visitors arrive, and also for the humans in the household to know how to manage the situations and understand the potential dangers. So in this first video in the series, we're going to discuss how we switch the routine around. And you think, well, I mean, really, is it going to make that much of a difference? Yes, it will. And ideally, like I said, if we can do this before your child, your baby arrives, before it's born, you're going to be more comfortable with it because you won't be as tired and as stressed as you will be afterwards, but it can still be done. And it will be easier for your dog to already have this new routine in place. So the first thing we want to do is talk about structure and within that the routine that already exists. And you may think, well, I don't have a routine. Well, everybody does, and your dog knows it, but you may not think that you've established a routine, but you do things a certain way pretty much most of the time. Certain things happen at similar times. Dogs get fed in a similar fashion every day. Let's talk about food first, okay? Quite often we see resource guarding, and that means that the dog is very possessive over whatever it values. And quite often it's their food. Could be their food bowl, and you think, well, really, my dog never does that. And that's fantastic. But imagine this. You've always left the food bowl on the ground and it's full of food, and the dog can go and graze as it feels fit. And there's nothing interfering with that, and everything's hunky-dory. But now, baby's arrived. So maybe you have forgotten to fill the food bowl periodically. Things are quite hectic, and the dog now values the food bowl more and could snap at you. But even worse, when the baby starts crawling around and the dog sees the baby as a potential competitor for its food bowl or its food. And you may think, well, if we have a big kitchen, so it's okay, but you don't know what area the dog perceives as its own and what area it feels that it could be threatened by. So somebody coming towards it 10 feet away may be okay, but somebody crawling towards the dog, they get to 8 feet or 7 feet, and that could be the trigger for your dog. So let's just avoid this altogether. Let's get in the habit now, and this is something we tell all of our clients to do, is not free feed anymore. Okay, let's get the dog on a schedule. You're going to portion out the meal into 2 meals if you have an adult dog. If it's a puppy, it's probably still going to be eating 3 meals a day for a little while. But let's talk about adult dogs. Twice a day, you're going to portion out the food, put it down, put it in a place that even if you forget to pick up the bowl, it's not going to be such an issue because your baby or your child won't go in there. So let's say now, instead of feeding your dog in the kitchen and leaving the bowl down there, you're going to change the routine entirely. You could feed your dog in the laundry room, a mud room, whatever area where you can close the door off and let the dog eat quietly on its own. You can also, if you use an exercise pen, you can feed the dog in the exercise pen. You can also feed the dog in your crate. And this is actually a really good idea because we are going to be talking about using the crate, which is a wonderful tool and skill for the dog to have is to be crate trained. A good tool for you, a good skill for the dog. And one way to get the dog really used to its crate, if you haven't been doing it already, is to feed it in the crate. So that's going to be the first thing. You're going to change the location of where the food is given to the dog, and you're going to do it at designated meal times. And you're going to allow a certain amount of time for feeding. So say 10 minutes, that should be plenty. And then you're going to pick up anything that the dog hasn't eaten. And this is extremely important. Don't feel bad. Your dog has been used to grazing, so it may not finish off its full portion because it's probably not that hungry right now. But within a day or two, your dog will be on a schedule and your dog will be eating its food. If it's raw food that you're feeding, then just clean the bowl out, put the food in the fridge, and you can give the same food back afterwards. If it's kibble, you can probably just put the bowl away and give the same bowl back to the dog at the next meal time. All right, that's very important. You're going to pick up the bowl, put the bowl down first, and then you're going to pick it up after 10 minutes, whether the bowl is cleaned out or not. And then you're going to repeat this process, and within a day or two, your dog will be eating. You're also going to change the location. If you are currently feeding in the kitchen or someplace where your children are currently going, or your baby would be potentially crawling around in. So the kitchen is quite likely that would happen, but you quite likely wouldn't have your baby crawling around in the mudroom or the laundry room. So whatever works for you. And remember, the crate is a great choice as well. The other thing that we want to do along with this is not have the dog going crazy when it sees its food bowl and you putting the food down. We want the dog to politely wait, and then you release your dog to the food, and then your dog can eat. So you're going to have your dog in a sit. Even if it's standing, that's fine, so long as it's not going crazy, right? We don't want the dog trying to jump up and rush at the food. We're looking to create some structure and politeness with the dog, so the dog learns to listen to you and to have some impulse control. So you're going to hold the bowl up and tell the dog to sit, and then you're going to start to put the bowl down. And if the dog starts to go towards the bowl or jumping towards you or lunging forward, and you can have the dog on leash as well, you're just simply going to lift the bowl up and the dog's head will tilt up. Quite likely the bum will go down. You can say sit again, and then you're just going to repeat this process until the dog gives you a nice pause, ideally looks at you, but so long as they're pausing and not charging for the food. And then you're going to give a release word. So most people are using a word like okay. Some people may already be doing this with their food. That's fantastic. Keep doing it. If you haven't started, you can start them at any age. They will learn this, all right? So you put the food down, and then you say, okay, we use the word free. Whatever word you want to use, the dog can then eat. I would leave the dog alone. If you want to stand beside it quietly, that's fine. This is important. Don't be messing with your dog's food while it's eating. And don't think, well, what if my child comes charging over and puts its hands in the dog's food bowl? Good point. Don't ever let that happen. Really? Yes, it possibly could, but as the parent or the adult in the situation, if you've got children visitors coming over, don't let that happen. That you're asking for a problem. We don't want to mess with the dog's food. You can create resource guarding just by doing that. So if what you can do instead is stand quietly beside your dog and then just drop some treats into the bowl while it's eating, or just pick up the bowl after it's finished eating, put some treats in and set it down again, or feed half a portion at a time. But I would first work on just creating the schedule first. If your dog's been free feeding, don't do everything all at once. Do this first, and then you can start to be near the dog and dropping food in, or picking up an empty food bowl, putting something in it and putting it back down to the dog. All right? Those are safe methods to do, with one exception. You already have a dog that's resource guarding, okay? If you already have such a dog, you need to get help professionally for this dog. So many dogs are rehomed or euthanized for this very issue, and it is one that is easy to fix. So we're not going to go into fixing it in this section right now, but if you have a big resource garter, you're going to want to get some professional help, because if you do it incorrectly, you can make it worse. And by worse, I mean the dog's going to start attacking you because it really is anticipating that you're going to try and take their things away from them, and which is what it fears. And if that happens, the dog learns that they had better just take the offensive, and they're going to go after you before you even get close to them. So imagine how awful that will be if it's your child or your grandchild or your friend's child coming over and this is happening and they get bit in the face. So if you have that problem, don't try to fix it on your own. Please get some professional help. It can be fixed. It's not hard to do. And don't cause the problem by messing with your dog's food, thinking that my baby might do that. Big no-no. We don't want children messing with the dog's food. Yes, it's cute. Isn't it nice? It's all cute until somebody gets bit in the face, and then it's horrible. All right, so let's be sensible and proactive, and your child won't get bit in the face if it doesn't approach your dog's bowl. And I know you think, well, I want my dog to be safe enough that that can happen. Yes, and isn't that great? But why do we want to sort of play like Russian roulette with our little wee ones? I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me. All right, so let's just be proactive and careful and start practicing this now if you are going to be having your baby soon, before the baby comes. And if your baby is no longer a baby and is a toddler and crawling around, or children running around, you can still start doing this now. And this is your first step in creating some structure and a new routine in your dog's life that will help baby-proof it. All right, thank you, and next video will be up soon.